Well, hello there, beautiful humans. I hope you're all well. Welcome, students, grads, seasoned beautiful humans, non-graduates, senior nurses, welcome. I'm going to be talking about career planning today. I presented this recently at the Gerontological Alliance for Nurses Australia. That's a hard word to say. And it was received pretty well. I had to deliver this in 10 minutes. I'm not going to run through it as quickly as that today. I'm going to take my time, probably 15 minutes, maybe 20. But I know that there's a lot of goodness in here for you to take from this. There will be a message in here for someone at every level of their career. So without further ado, let's dive in. I don't have to give you the spiel, but I'm going to tell you a little story. So I want you to take away from this session some challenged perceptions about career planning and how you maybe think about career planning in the traditional sense, i.e. what we've been taught up until this point. I want to inspire possibility within you. I want you to think about what is actually truly possible for you in your careers. And I want you to generate permission. Some of you need this session. Some of you need to give yourself permission. I spend my life just passing permission from myself to other people. And I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. So if you need permission, take it from this session today. You can ask questions and I'll get back to you after the session. You can engage below or wherever you're watching this video and get back to me and I'll get back to you after this session. And I'd love you to drop any ahas. You engaging with this in any way, shape or form, even if it's just a message afterwards saying, hey, this resonated, gives me life and helps me know that I'm on the right track and that I'm not talking to no one. Alrighty, so let's do this. I want you to think about this question. What does career planning mean to you? Because when I think of career planning in the traditional sense, I go back to the place where I'm like, oh, I have a career as a nurse. I need to make a plan and I'm going to decide the plan ahead of time. And it takes me back to my early student graduate years where I literally did that. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be a nurse. I need to create a plan. And I created this kind of trajectory plan without actually really knowing myself and not knowing really what was possible. So I wanted to tell that story through my career experience up until this point, and hopefully you see something here. Now, excuse all of the terrible selfies, but there's a method to my madness. So where this all started for me in terms of career planning was when I was a student nurse, a final year student nurse, and I went to my first ever graduate nursing interview, and the director of nursing that interviewed me said to me afterwards, feedback, she said, you know what, Liam, I think one day you're going to make a great director of nursing. And lo and behold, that was my career planning. That was the start of my career planning journey. And I just took that little seed of possibility, that little possibility drop right in front of me, and I held onto it for dear life. And I'm like, well, if she says I've got to do this, I've got to do this. So on the path I went towards becoming a director of nursing. So I started off in Scotland, started my nursing career, and that's where I did my training. And then I got a job down in Reading, down in England, just outside London. And I started my first job in a busy medical admission and planning unit. Boy, was it a baptism of fire. Oh my goodness. And when I was there working, I was thinking to myself, oh, career planning, I'm going to be a specialist nurse. Maybe I could be a senior nurse here. And every time that I was in a job as I moved through my career, I just kept thinking the same thing. Maybe I could do this. Maybe I could do that. And then I spent a few years there and then I got tapped on the shoulder. And somebody said to me, hey, Liam, I'm an intensive care matron. I'm like, and she said to me, maybe you'd be a great ICU nurse. And I went, sure, let's do ICU. So I applied for ICU and then I went to ICU, and you're starting to see a little theme here. And then I went to ICU and I met my partner and we moved to Australia. When I got to Australia, I started exploring lots of different potential possibilities, lots of different potential pathways. And in pursuing all of those things, I started giving myself permission to just try before I buy and explore. Australia was new and I wasn't really sure what I was getting myself in for. So I did agency, I did clinical facilitation, I did education, I did marking, I worked across the public-private sectors as an agency nurse, and I really just did anything that came my way. And that was a great experience for me. And then I moved to Canberra, became an advanced life support coordinator, I taught campus training, early recognition of deteriorating patients. I became a medical clinical nurse educator across 5 inpatient wards in the acute sector, as a medical CNC, as an advanced primary care nurse. All of the things, I did all of the things, and I kept just seeing these opportunities arising. And then fast forward to today, via Fiji and an internship in a humanitarian context, I'm now an nursepreneur that works and lives from currently Paris because my partner is here on posting. So I tell you this story because, as you can see, it was like all over the place. And I think sometimes we get caught up in what it should look like versus what it actually really truly does look like. And I hope me telling you my story inspires you to give yourself permission to just go all in on whatever turns up. So I think that there's a perception, right, that I thought it should be a direct line to, and I truly believed when that director of nursing said to me, hey, you'd be great. I was like, yeah, I would be great. I'll do this, then I'll be a CN, then I'll be a CNC, then I'll be a CNE, and then I'll be an ADON, and I'll just follow the path and I'll make it happen. And the reality is, my career looked like an ED nurse's IV infusion set. The IV infusion lines for an ED nurse. This is what it looks like. And don't come from me, ED nurses, you know it's true. I'm speaking from ICU nursing experience here, but that's the reality. And I kept thinking to myself, do I have a hot mess career? Is my career a hot mess? And when you look at it through this lens, like I've had so many different jobs, and I'm sure many of you have too, regardless whether you're at the start or whether you're a seasoned, beautiful human. So I kept being told, stick to a role, Liam. Stop job hopping. Get clear and stay put. You will ruin your career. Who's heard all of these things? I was like getting really, really terrified and scared. So me being me, Liam having a very overactive brain and being the empath and emotional sponge that I am, I was having heaps of thoughts and feelings, right? I was thinking, I don't fit in, I can't stick at anything, what do these people think of me? I have no plan, I'm definitely not good enough, I don't have the skills, I don't know what I like, I keep trying all these things and I'm still trying to find the thing. Where is the thing? Is somebody going to give me the thing? And I kept thinking, why does everybody else have it all worked out? Little did I know, they don't. So this is a surprise. And I was feeling all of these feelings, right? I was confused, but then the next day I'm excited because I've got a new opportunity. Then I was overwhelmed, then I was driven. I was just like an emotional roller coaster as I navigated my career. Kept thinking to myself, it should be different. I should have a plan. I should be working towards something. When in fact, I wasn't really working towards anything. I was just going with the flow. So I did a lot of personal development work. I did a lot of coaching. I had a lot of therapy. And I kept coming up against this fact that maybe it's okay. Maybe it's all right to just be or have a quote-unquote hot mess career. So I read this incredible book. If you've not read it, it is an incredible book, Big Magic by Liz Gilbert. She's the author of Eat, Pray, Love. Phenomenal book. If you're creative, you will love it. And she talks about separating the world of work into these two very simplistic terms, jackhammer and hummingbird. And simply put, she talks about jackhammers being those people that just know from the minute that they draw their breath, from the minute they are born on this earth, that they just know. It's almost like they just know they've got this plan and they're going to work towards it. And they just keep digging. They just keep going and going and going and gathering the depth of information, skill, knowledge, experience until they become so specialized at something. And I couldn't really resonate with that because I'm like jack of all trades, master of none. And I think a lot of nurses really do lean into that belief. But there are some that love being a jackhammer, right? So there's no right or wrong here, but jackhammer didn't really fit for me. Of course, jackhammers, still have troubles on the way to the goal, right? It's not clear cut. And then the hummingbird really deeply resonated with me, and it also looks much prettier. But the hummingbird, in Liz's terms, the hummingbird is like this beautiful cross-pollinating creature that just flies to one flower, picks up some nectar and some pollen, and then flies to the next and cross-pollinates and keeps doing that, gathering all this nectar and pollen and in the nursing context, gathering these skills, knowledge and experiences and moving on to the next organization, next role. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, I am definitely a hummingbird. So I'd love for you to let me know which one resonates with you most. Are you a jackhammer? Do you have a hunger and thirst for depth of knowledge? Or are you a hummingbird? Are you a cross-pollinating, multi-passionate clinician who loves flying from one organization to the next, collecting all of these beautiful experiences? Like I said, there's no right or wrong, there's no good or bad, but it's just good to know, right? And this gave me such power and some freedom cognitively to be like, who said this was a problem? So from this aha moment, I learned a couple of powerful lessons, right? Outsourcing my career decisions to others, especially random Facebook groups and random strangers on the internet, was always going to be a bad idea. So step away from the keyboards, okay, unless you're sending me a personal DM and I'll give you one-to-one support. I was shooting on myself all the time. Not shitting, shooting on myself all the time. I should do this, I should do a master's, I should do a PhD. oh, that person applied for the CN and they've been there, the same less time than me. I should apply. So I stopped shooting on myself. It was impacting my health and well-being. I was burning myself out. I kept thinking it was the system, the hospital, the organization, the people, the bullies. All of those things contributed, but I was compounding the drama for myself. So I had to take that responsibility. And I was beating myself up because of lack of compliance with the plan. Because, us clinicians were a stickler for policy and protocol. And I wasn't sticking to my own policy and protocol. So I started thinking, how can I approach career planning in a different way? What if I just embrace the fact that I am an incredible, multi-passionate, cross-pollinating clinician? I think that should be on everybody's CV, right? What if that's just who we are at our core? Why is that a problem? Maybe it's all about getting comfortable being uncomfortable, and that was what I've learned to be true up until this point in my career, and that self-awareness is the key in instigating, or the key missing piece, and what most people don't spend the time on because it's hard, because we've got to look internally to establish what it is that we truly want to be doing that lights us up. So I love this idea of like having a care plan for our careers. Think about your care plans for your patients and whatever setting you work in. They're not rigid in nature. They're flexible and adaptable. And most importantly, that H word, holistic. They're holistic. And the same applies to our nursing career. I'm already over 10 minutes. See, how did I do this in 10 minutes? It's incredible. Okay, so I designed and came up with this 4P approach to career planning, and it's super simple, and you can do this on a bit of paper for yourself. So step number one is perceptions. Step 1 and 2 is what people tend to forget or even touch in the process of making a career change or career planning, quote unquote, if we're going to go down that path. Step number 1, your thoughts and beliefs about what is possible for you. Here we're talking about what stories are you telling yourself about your career? What thoughts do you believe, consciously and subconsciously, that are holding you back from moving you forward? Okay, very, very important first step. If we don't look at what's happening internally, how can we change, or how can we expect the external world to meet our needs? It's just impossible. I've tried it 15 times. Don't do what I did. Step 2 is all about our passions. Now, passion is fleeting, right? Some days we're passionate about being a nurse. Some days we absolutely detest it. Yes, I said it. So when we think about passions, I want you to think about tuning in the moment when you are just in the vibe. You are feeling yourself. You are like, damn, I'm frigging good. Now, if you're not having many of those moments, maybe it's time to book a call with me and have a chat about your career and where you're at. But I really want you to get conscious, real conscious in the moment. For example, when I'm coaching, when I'm teaching, I'm in my stride. I can just feel it in my body. I just have the energy for it. I love it. I could do it all day long. And it just lights me up. And I can feel that viscerally in my body. I feel pumped after I've done it. Where does that come up for you? Is it in, is it in running a clinic and being autonomous? Is it in really doing a really thorough patient assessment? Is it in documentation? It could be anything. Is it wound care? Is it in teaching? Is it quality improvement? What is that? Or is it just in interacting with your patients? Is it real simple? It's really good to tune into your emotions and your passions in the moment. Okay, so important. So we've gone thoughts, feelings, and then step number 3 is pathways. This is where most people start their career planning journey, right? And this is where I kind of think career planning is a little dead. If we don't do step number 1 and 2, you're potentially creating or taking a new step in like a different direction. New job, new pathway, same brain, same human, same thoughts, same feelings, right? So we want to raise our awareness to steps 1 and 2 so that step 3 becomes all about what is actually possible for me. What is out there? And I don't mean like just your locally possible. I want us to go cray-cray with the ideas here. I want us to think about, what if I could do anything? Because you can. You totally can. What if I could do anything? What would it be? And I want you to like play with possibility. The other day when I presented this, people really resonated with this idea. Just because you're playing with possibility doesn't mean that you have to do it, right? Just because you can doesn't mean you should. So I want you to just give yourself full permission to just play. What would go wrong if you just let yourself just play and say, I could be a don, I could do this, I could do that, and let your brain go wild and then see what is actually available to you? Because most of us just believe there's like 2 or 3 options. There are millions, well, not millions, there are thousands, hundreds, thousands of options. I say millions because when I Googled aged care and gerontology nursing career pathways last week in Google, it gave me 181 million search items. So, that's why I said millions, but there's probably not millions. So that's pathways. Step 4 is permission to plan. This is where you give yourself permission to actually start creating a holistic career plan for yourself, okay? Gather all the info, give yourself permission and start creating a career plan from an informed place. Imagine creating a care plan for your patient without knowing anything about them. That is what you're doing when you're trying to career plan without knowing the depths of what lights you up, what you're passionate about, and what's stopping you from moving forward, okay? So I used this example the other day because I was talking to gerontology nurses and aged care nurses, but it applies across the board. And we've worked with hundreds now, nearly 400 nurses to help them transition within their career, whether you're a grad, or you're a seasoned, beautiful human that just wants to change and pivot and apply for something new. So I want you to meet Jane. Jane went from RN1 to RN2. So for those of you that don't do RN2, RN3, it's CN, right? Clinical nurse or clinical nurse specialist. She was an incredible clinician. She had over 30 years of experience, right? She came to subacute rehab gerontology, so insert specialty here, in Australia in 2017. And she had this deep desire to progress to being an RN level 2 in the job. But she'd applied multiple times. And luckily for her, I was her nurse unit manager after she had applied for these jobs. So I saw an opportunity here to really help her uncover what was stopping her from moving forward. And of course, she's got 30 years experience. I definitely want her to be applying for these jobs, right, with this depth of knowledge and experience. So let's dive in. So when we apply the 4P approach to Jane, number 1, perceptions. Look at all the things she was telling herself. As we sat down and mapped this out, I said, hey, what's stopping you from applying for this? She just gave me a whole bunch of thoughts, right? And this is what happens. Our brain offers all these thoughts to us and we think they're factually true. So she genuinely believed, can you believe it, that she didn't have enough experience. She has 30 years. 30 freaking years of multi-passionate, cross-pollinating, international experience, and she doesn't have enough? Are you kidding me? Come on. I'm not the best team leader. Who said you have to be the best? You just have to be good. You don't have to be the best. I don't have the postgrad. It's a desirable. It's not an essential. Okay, why is that stopping you? I'm not ready. No one's ever ready. Okay? See how our brain just gives us all these reasons why we can't? And it's hold on. Let's just challenge that in a kind, respectful, compassionate way. I have no other options. Totally incorrect. Could have been an educator, could have been a CDN, could have been a clinical nurse, could have been a clinic nurse, could have moved into a non-clinical role, could have been the director of nursing, right? She doesn't know because she's not even tried. She's applied for one job. There's more opportunities out there. I don't know that I want to deal with pressures. And this is a rational fear, right? A lot of us have this fear. And it's a thought, right? And it creates fear for us, or worry, or stress, or overwhelm. And that's something that we can also work on, right? So a few things that I want you to note here is that she's possibility blocking herself, right? I made up this term, but she's possibility blocking herself. She's already failing ahead of time. She's just decided, right? And I know somebody said this the other day, women suffer from imposter syndrome. I was like, yeah, so do men. We all do for sure. We all suffer from imposter syndrome. But is it a good enough reason to stop you from moving forward, right? We're all imposters at every stage, all the time. Just embrace it. I'm an imposter. Tell yourself, I'm an imposter. Of course you are. That's totally fine. Jane's brain was busy collecting evidence because she believes she's lacking, right? And she is deeply underestimating her capability. She has untapped potential, but she's just not even thinking that it's possible. So this is normal. This is where most people come and work with me and they're like, Liam, and they give me all these reasons why they can't. And it's totally normal because your brain wants to keep you safe. But it's also 100% optional, right? Because I already gave you the flip side of all of these potential thoughts that she could choose to believe is true. But she's believed these thoughts probably for the 30 years of her nursing career. Maybe she was told them, maybe a bully told her this, maybe the last job that she applied for told her this. It doesn't mean that it's factually true. And I want you to think about where in your career you're doing that to yourself also, right? Because it's optional. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. I don't know how I did this in 10 minutes, but you're getting the depth here today. They didn't get the depth, you're getting the depth. So the second part of Jane's story was passion. And I said to her, what are you passionate about? What do you love doing? When you're in the moment, how do you feel in your body? What really lights you up? What could you be doing all day long, running around, and you'd leave and you'd damn, I nailed it today. This is what she offered. Great team leader, enjoys delegating care. She's a specialist. She loves the depth and the evidence and applying that. She likes educating and supporting the graduates. She's passionate about hand hygiene. She's contributed to quality improvement. Can you see what I'm seeing here? She's a perfect fit for RN2 and clinical nurse. Amazing. So, few things to note. She started gathering ideas. She started identifying her strengths just through this process of like, what do you love doing? She started proving to herself that she can potentially maybe do this. And that's all we need, a little spark of possibility, right? She was lit up as she was talking to me. I could see it in her face, and I see this all the time. People just light up internally, and I have to point it out. She convinced herself and she saw her scope. And then the third step is about pathways, right? The third step is all about what could you possibly do? Let's remove this just one job. What else could you do? And we came up with all of these, and this is not a comprehensive list. We came up with all of these potential pathways. She could apply for all of those right now. Totally could apply for all of them. And we just tailor and apply her applications accordingly and her interview technique. She has the depth, knowledge, skills, and experience. And I don't care whether you've got 3 days of experience as a nurse or you've got 30 years, the same is true for you. There are so many options out there, and it's all about how we transfer and sell our skill set. So, a few things to note here. She allowed herself to play with possibility without the pressure to take action. You don't have to take action. She could decide at this point she didn't want any of them, and that's totally fine, right? You are always in control. She stopped focusing on the how. How many of us think of a goal like, oh, I could be a director of nursing, and then you're like, oh, but no, I need X, Y, and Z, and I need 15 years, and I need this and need that. Let's remove the how. Do not think about the how at this stage, because the how only becomes important when you actually get to like the interview stage or move forward. Let's not block ourselves from a potential pathway or possibility by focusing on the how right now. Like, give ourselves the options. She gathered proof that all of the paths were possible, right? She used that critical thinking, that great skill that we have as nurses, to play with possibility without the pressure to take action. And then this fourth step, permission to plan. She practiced believing new thoughts. She saw that those thoughts that she had previously were not serving her. And I'm curious about what thoughts you have that are not serving you too. I have them. We all have them. We have 60,000 of them a day, believe it or not. And those thoughts will stop us from taking the next step, and we'll do what I call failing ahead of time, where we just decide ahead of time without any actual real evidence, except from our subconscious thoughts, that we ain't good enough. And that's not true. So she practiced believing new thoughts, which is an intentional practice. I am good enough. I can do this. I have everything that I need. Okay? Your brain's not going to believe it, but if you practice it over time, it will. Because a belief is just a collection of thoughts believed over a period of time. Okay? If you can believe that you're not good enough, you can believe that you are good enough. So powerful. She questioned her pathway. She saw abundance of options. She reclaimed all her power and stopped giving it away to the Don or to the A-Don that said no to her. And was like, hold on, I'm going to reposition and reaffirm, and I'm going to go after what I want because it's my goal. I don't care about the rest of the people. She opened herself up to risk and failure. So important, right? So important. And she increased her chances of success and saw growth in exploring and applying. Literally the worst thing that can happen to you when you apply for a job or you move within your career is that you get a no. And that just generates a thought and a feeling in your internal system. That's it. Nothing else. So if the worst thing that can happen is a thought and a feeling, if you just practiced experiencing all the thoughts and all the feelings, you got this, you can do it, it's so easy. So of course she got the job, right? And she was so happy, and it literally, she was like 30 plus years into her career, longer than that. And this was her first promotion. Can you believe it? Incredible. Her beautiful, multi-passionate, international, cross-pollinating clinical experience, incredible. So she got the new job, she got the career alignment and growth. She built self-belief. But I want you to notice that there's more to just career planning than getting a new job and moving and more money and all of that. There are so many other strategic byproducts. She increased her failure tolerance. By taking a risk, she taught herself that it's okay to open yourself up to fail. Like, that's totally fine. We need to debunk that idea that we can't fail as clinicians. She improved the culture of growth for herself and her team. People that looked up to her saw the potential in their career. If she can do it, I can do it. She improved her financial growth, right? She got a new pay point. She increased patient safety because she's the best person to be in that job. And she supported the team. Just imagine if she hadn't used the 4P approach and she had not given herself permission to apply. Imagine if she hadn't looked at those thoughts and tuned into what she truly, absolutely loved and saw that her brain was offering her lots of reasons why she shouldn't and no reasons why she should. We've got to balance that brain out, okay? So, as we wrap up, I really don't know how I did this in 10 minutes. As we wrap up, I really want to leave you with a couple of questions. What if this is the modern nursing career planning approach? Maybe it's what we've all been secretly doing behind the scenes, but none of us want to talk about it because we don't want to break the rules. But I'm here to break the rules and to push buttons and to get you thinking in ways that serve you and not the organization, right? Because, they're not thinking of our best interests all the time. So what if career planning isn't so much about knowing the how, knowing the step-by-step plan, having this direct linear trajectory towards the goal, but instead it was about you inviting all of the discomfort in of not knowing and pursuing our paths, right? Quote unquote paths, whatever path that might be, even if it looks like an ED nurse's IV infusion lines, from a place of self-awareness, self-inquiry, self-knowing, and self-confidence. Because when we do that and we raise our awareness to the thoughts that we have that are blocking us, I call it career blocking us from moving forward, and we explore what potentially could be the passions that we have and how we feel, we allow ourselves to operate from a place where we have more possibility. That is what I've been found to be true. When we operate from thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I can't do this, your world is so small. But when you tell yourself, I can do anything and I've got my own back, even if it fails, your options and your world just becomes so much bigger. So what if that's the approach? What if it's just about us allowing ourselves to be multi-passionate, cross-pollinating clinicians? Think about the beauty of how that would transform the industry. Many of us already doing it, but many of us are beating ourselves up for doing it. I would love to know what you're doing or what's coming up for you. So as we wrap up, what is one insight that you can take away from today and apply to your career planning? I mean, even if you want a career plan, I still to this day don't have a career plan as a career coach. And I think that there's such beauty in being so flexible and adaptable with it. But I'd love to know, wherever you're watching this, tell me one thing. Commit to telling me what you're taking away from this. And in conclusion, I want you to remind yourself that career planning is not linear, and we've proven that true today, right? This is what we think, and this is what we actually end up with. And isn't it beautiful? Isn't it amazing? Career plans are flexible and adaptable, just like our patients' care plans. Imagine if our patients' care plans were rigid, like we'd be having people dropping left, right, and center. We got to be flexible and adaptable and offer that to ourselves as well. And holistic, bringing in the fact that you're a human who nurses. Not just a nurse, you're a human who nurses. So we've got to invite in the humanness, the thoughts, the feelings. And then the best career path, I love this, and plan is the path that you create intentionally. We got to wake up. We've got to wake up so that we can be aware of what it is that we actually want to create. Yes, there are so many things going on in the industry. There always has been. There always will be. And then what? What do you want to do? Let's be intentional about the career that you want to build that serves you and you only. And you do it on your friggin' terms. So, you can ask questions. You can send me a DM. You can pop a little thing below here in the comments and ask a question, or just tell me what really resonated with this. You guys all know who I am. Make sure you check out the podcast. If this has resonated with you today, please let me know below or send me a message. I love to hear, because I want to do more of this kind of stuff. And if you are somebody that is thinking, hey, this triggered something within me, it is time, I'm holding myself back, whether you are a student, a graduate nurse, whether you are a seasoned nurse, whatever situation you're in, book a call with me. I love chatting to nurses. There are absolutely no pressure calls. It is for me to get to know you to tell me your story, and me to give you some insights on what I think could be possible for you. It's a little play with possibility, a little career coaching chat, and then we can take it from there if you think that it's a fit. And if there's no need for us to work together, I will be the first to tell you. Alrighty? So book in a call. Let me know what you think. And let me know if you want me to do more of these. It's been an absolute pleasure. 30 minutes. Oh my goodness. I can't believe it. I tell you, I don't know how I did it. Anyway, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And if you think this would benefit people, let them know. And let's embrace modern, multi-passionate, cross-pollinating career planning. Thank you so much for watching the High Performance Nursing Podcast. Make sure you subscribe and hit that bell for all future video notifications. If you want to dive deeper into this work, please come and join us in the High Performance Nursing membership. All the links are in the comments below. We would love to see you there and help you thrive within your nursing life, career, and mindset. Let's do this.